Yeah.
I want to welcome our leader of the opposition, the Right Honorable Joe Senyoni. Let us all welcome the Chief Opposition Whip.
Mic check 1, 2. The Right Honorable Leader of our Parliamentary Front, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me also add my voice to send heartfelt condolences to friends, families, and comrades of Sarah Eperu, and I continue to pray that the Almighty rests her gentle soul in eternal peace. It is an honor today for me to share my thoughts with you this morning as we launch our alternative budget policies for the new financial year. The theme for today is a reflection of our vision for a new Uganda, a Uganda whose resources are exploited for the benefit of the citizens and not for the benefit of a select few individuals. A Uganda that protects and promotes dignity and basic freedoms and rights for every citizen. A Uganda that puts interests of the people, the citizens, at the forefront of public policy. The alternative budget priorities presented today recognize the plight of the ordinary Ugandan, whom the leaders derive their mandate from, and also paint a clear picture of what we intend to do in order to make Uganda a country that works for every Ugandan. Ladies and gentlemen, Ugandans deserve better health care, they deserve better education, and they deserve better infrastructure in order for them to live their full potential and benefit and enjoy all their fundamental rights. Because education is essential for producing skilled workers, a workforce that will transform communities, it's therefore important that our children study subjects and courses that are relevant to their passion and natural abilities. We cannot achieve without changing, we can't achieve this without changing or in fact overhauling our entire education system and realigning our education institutions. Considering that 75% of Uganda's disease burden is preventable, then we must make our priority to invest in disease prevention rather than disease cure. This should be done in addition to hiring skilled and professional health workers through a fair recruitment process and go ahead to remunerate them fairly and on time. We must think about our creative area. Think about our creatives, provide conditions that don't only protect their intellectual property, but also create conditions that help them to live to their full potential. About the creatives, I could go on and on and on, but the rest, I guess, Dr. Hildeman and others who are creatives and within our leadership will elucidate on that. However, ladies and gentlemen, as attractive as all these alternative policies might be, it is actually impossible to achieve them if the leaders in charge of our national resources cannot rise above their petty selfishness. We must resist, we must reject, in fact, we must eject all forms of corruption in public administration. Otherwise, all this will be going to a waste. Our sources will continue sinking down the long drain of personal greed at the expense of our collective well-being and at the lives of our people, our children, and our children's children. As a national unity platform, we shall continue to take decisive action in that regard. Friends, many good proposals have been presented in terms of policy alternatives, in terms of laws, by ourselves and other leaders. But let us be honest, no matter how good our thoughts are, no matter how beautiful our proposals are, they shall never see the light of the day for as long as dictator Museveni is still in charge of this country. That is my firm belief. Yes, we must continue telling Ugandans the truth as it is, instead of, misleading them with eloquent speeches. We must paint to them a picture of the problem and indeed go ahead and point at where the problem is. The man who has ruled our country for almost 40 years now is not just a political opponent to us, no. He is the embodiment of Uganda's problems. He's a living testament of corruption. He's the testament of oppression. He is the embodiment of the abuse of all democratic principles. In a nutshell, he is the roadblock, he is the stumbling block between Uganda and its progress. So let us face the reality and deal with the reality as it is. It's until you diagnose the problem that you'll be able to deal with that problem. I mean, he and his cronies live in extreme luxury while our hospitals are sick and our schools are rotting away. Yes, we have alternative policies. Yes, we have brilliant minds here in Parliament, wonderful at economics, wonderful at debating and all that. But we shall debate, we shall propose, and we shall articulate issues. But let me be clear to you, once again, my brothers and sisters, that no matter how good our alternatives are, no matter how well-intentioned you, our MPs, are, it won't make any difference for as long as we don't have any power to implement those good ideas. We must get used to that fact and deal with that fact exactly the way it is. I mean, we can draft the most comprehensive budgets, we can allocate funds meticulously, we can strategize endlessly, but as long as Museveni remains at the helm, the efforts will all be like rearranging cups on a falling table. We must channel all our energy. We must channel all our passion and all our abilities and all our determination towards one singular mission: removing the dictator and reorganizing the country as the citizens of Uganda. That is the only way this is going to be possible. So I continue to encourage all of us here present and those watching us outside that we must do what we must do. You cannot take a step unless you unlock your feet. So for now, what we have as a great resource is our collective determination and collective will to have a free country. And after having that, then we shall go ahead to build a Uganda where all Ugandans are equal, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of where they come from, regardless of religion, tribe, or social class. we shall go ahead to build a Uganda where leaders lead with integrity, where leaders are true servants and citizens are the true masters of their destiny. So let us use this resource that we have to put an end to this dictatorship. Let us use this resource to change this country once and for all. I thank you for listening to me, for God and my country.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that very elaborate speech. We also thank the Leader of Opposition for his speech to us all. We believe we have taken in what we have been told. Now, allow me, honorable members, to invite...
Webalanya okusooka nebaziza leader waffe wa ttiimu yaffe ya parliament right honorable Joel Ssenyonyi ne ttiimu yonna gy'akoze nayo okufulumya budget yaffe eno etali nnene nnyo naye ate ng'efokasinga ku bintu ebiyamba abantu ng'egoberera n'omulamwa ogusitula eddembe ly'abantu si kweyagala bweyagazi naye n'oku-enjoyinga oba okunyumirwa oba okweyagalira mu bintu ebyo bibasaanira okweyagaliramu mu mateeka. Naye okusingira ddala obubaka bwange wakati mu kubeebaza olw'okuvaayo ne budget eno ennungi n'ebirowoozo ebirungi, mbajjukiza abakulembeze baffe nti ebirowoozo ebirungi tujja nabyo bibadde nga bireetebwa, naye ekizibu kye tulina nti ebirowoozo bikoma kuleetebwa. Ekizibu ekisinga ekya Uganda yenna kyemalira Yoweri Museveni nga ye sente z'eggwanga zonna azimalira mu kwekumira mu buyinza, kugulirira abakulembeze bamwetoolodde na kunyigiriza abantu. So ekizibu kye tulina okusooka okugyawo yenna kyemalira Museveni, then tubeere n'eddembe ebisaasanya sente za Uganda si mu kwejalabya naye mu kutereeza ebyo ebisaana okutaasa abantu ng'amasomero ng'amalwaliro n'ebirala bifaanana bwe bityo. Well, saagala ensonga eno nnene gireducinga ku muntu omu. Ensonga gye mbadde sikonyeeko ensonga y'enguzi ekutte ejjembe. Newankubadde omu ku ffe naye yasanga mu nsonga eyo, naye abamukulira be basinga okulya enguzi, okugeza sipiika waffe wano, sipiika wa Parliament ya Uganda ye Nakinku mu kulya enguzi. Era ekyo kyetaaga okwogerwako, ensi n'ekimanya, n'ensi nemukolinga out kubanga sente ezoonoonebwa Parliament eno zisobola okukyusa obulamu bw'abantu bungi nnyo. So obuli bw'enguzi ye kansa ayonoonye Uganda, kati kyafuuka institutional. Enguzi yafuuka ngeri ya kwekumira mu buyinza na ngeri ya kukakanya abavuganya gavumenti. So enguzi ng'ekulemberwa Anita Amongo, sipiika wa wano, nga mulimu si bokka ba NRM naye nga mulimu n'abaffe, kizibu nnyo era nakyo tulina okirwanyisa ate tujja kirwanyisa. Ffe nga NUP tujja kukozesa ebikolwa si bigambo. We tulina obuyinza wonna okulwanyisa enguzi, naye twagala na buli kitongole kya gavumenti kikozesa obuyinza obwo okulwanyisa enguzi, kuba enguzi yesisigiriza Uganda emabega. Ensonga y'obutalotalo mmwe bannamawulire mmwe abagiteekawo, tewali lutalo lwonna. Okuleka ng'oŋŋamba nti okola ekituufu luba lutalo. Okola ekituufu we luba lutalo, then tuli mu lutalo. Era tulina okubeera mu lutalo nga tulwanyisa enguzi, nga tulwanyisa obulyake, nga tulwanyisa obwannakyemalira, luba lutalo. So si mu kibiina kyaffe, nze ndowooza mu kibiina kyaffe twandibadde nga ekyokulabirako. Buli muntu kabeere nga sipiika wa Parliament yalidde enguzi, kabeere nga minisita n'akangavulwa nga bwe kirina okubeera. Ffe nga NUP tubawa kyakulabirako, tuli option. Era mu Uganda empya bwe tubikola bwe tujja obikola nga tumaze okugoba nakyemalira. Saagala nnyo kukendeeza kwogera kwange kukukakanya ate kussa ku bammemba bange benkulembera mu kibiina. Njagala nnyo njogere ku nsonga ezigasa eggwanga lyonna. Kati budget eno si ya NUP yokka, wabula reflectinga ekifaananyi kya opposition yonna. So saagala ensonga za NUP ate nziyingize mu bibiina ebirala, njagala njogere ku kintu ekigasa eggwanga lyonna, si kibiina kyokka nga NUP. Webale nnyo, webale. Kyannaku nnyo okubeera mu nsi nga tulowooza nti bwabaawo obumenyi bw'amateeka olina kuteesa n'amenya amateeka. Bwe wabaawo obumenyi bw'amateeka nga waliwo evidence oba obujulizi obumulumika, then amateeka gakole. Bwe mugamba nti omuntu bw'aba amenya etteeka bateesaganye naye, then tujewa amateeka bibere bya kuteesaganya. Baganda baffe abaasibwa mu makomera tebalina musango, n'olw'ensonga eyo balina okuyimbulwa embagirawo awatali kakwakulizo kuba tebalina musango. Bwe baba balina omusango baleetebwe mu kooti bavunaanibwe, omusango gubake mu vi oba bagusinge bejjerere, so si kuteesaganya nabo. Eyo enkola ya kiyekera, tetukkiriziganya nayo, tukkiriziganya mu nfuga ey'amateeka, era bwe tunatwala obuyinza y'enfuga gye tujja okutambulira. It is unfortunate that we live in a country where the leadership thinks, or the rulership thinks, that when somebody commits a crime, you have to negotiate their release. If somebody commits a crime, then let the evidence be presented, let them be presented in a competent court, and let them be either convicted or acquitted. We are not going to negotiate our rights. We believe in the rule of law. If there is the rule of law in Uganda, let it work. If the courts function in Uganda, let them work. Our brothers and sisters who are in prison for the longest time, the political prisoners, are innocent, and we continue to demand their unconditional release. We are not going to negotiate, because if you ask us to negotiate, what do you want us to give in exchange for our freedom? Bobo yagala tuteesaganye n'omuntu ng'akutte baganda baffe nga tebalina musango, oyagala ffe tumuwe eki atuwe baganda baffe, kubanga kibamba sibira dembe lyabwe, ate eddembe lyabwe eryo si beetegefu ddiwaayo, ne bwe banaateebwa bajja kusigala nga bayanira eddembe lyabwe. So si lyakuteesaako naye lyabwe bange kuba constitution eri guaranteeing. Well, everything we do it in the open. We are a transparent political party. And what happened was in public. The information came from the public domain, and we dealt with it as our morality levels permit. The speaker is a criminal herself. The speaker is a criminal, so we don't really have time to exchange with criminals. Thank you very much. The so-called internal conflicts are a creation of the media. As you have seen, so many TVs have been out, on rampage, trying to create a non-existent impression that we have conflicts. No, they're not conflicts. The only conflict we have is with criminality, is with corruption. And we deal with corruption as people that know that corruption is a cancer that has bedeviled our country. Thank you very much. Well, we major on majors and minor on minors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. First of all, I'm so sorry. I must apologize. You see, we senior citizens, we have so much, and forgetfulness is part of it. So I remember Friday, a lady rang me over Thursday or something and said, "We want you." I said, "Hey, what is it? Budget? Oh, okay, I'll see." Now, since morning, that was off the head. And then around 11, he said, "Where are you?" I said, "My goodness, who are you?" He told me. He said, "When are you finishing?" He said, 2 o'clock. I said, "Okay, let me at least appear." So I'm sorry that I came late, and so I have not heard this whole thing. But I want to say that I was very happy to have been invited to come here to listen to what you are saying. You know, many people, me, whichever party or whoever calls me, I go. I'm a senior citizen and I'm a Ugandan. It does not matter where or what. I'm a Ugandan as a senior citizen. I'm interested in Uganda as a nation and Ugandan people. So when NUP calls me, I come, and I'm very happy to be there. I wish I was here to listen to everything and then say, "Oh, so this is the alternative view." I want to thank you so much to ensure that you really offer your alternative view, because what is democracy? This liberal democracy which we say we are following is that there is this government to serve the nation, and there is the opposition to give alternative view and to be watching oversight and see next year or the other year, they may be now the government while the other one is in opposition. So opposition and government are supposed to work together, all driven by service to their nation and to their people whom they serve. So for me, I love now what you are doing, that the budget statement was, was given, I think, and then you are saying for us, If it were we, this is how we would go about it. And one of the reasons why I'm so happy about this is that it disputes all these general Ugandans who say, this opposition, it has no program, it has no plan. That's how they talk about opposition. And usually I say, but look here, do you think a group of people can sit there and say we want to lead this nation without this manifesto? And I'm sure every party has a manifesto, but because people don't read them, they think that when you come up to lead, you have nothing to offer, just because we generally don't read. And I'm even wondering how many are even listening to the alternative budget. But for me, what I want to tell you is, as a leader who was a leader, elected leader, but who continues to be a leader because leadership does not end, and leadership is about service, and it does not depend on any position you hold, but it depends on the passion you have for your vision for the people you are leading. So whether 19 years ago, I have no position which I hold, but I'm still a leader in this country. And so I'm so happy that you give this and people read and hear that if it were you, you would have done this kind of thing. So I want to congratulate you that you move on. Whether you are discredited, whether you are bashed, I remember, is it Martin Luther King or Jr., who said that if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, but at least continue moving. In other words, whether they discredit, whether they rubbish, whether continue moving. One day, your movement will be real. Didn't you see Barack Obama, amazing and incredibly, being the president of America? Because they continued running. So walking or crawling. So that's what I would wish to you. Now, having said that, you said I was one of those ministers. By the way, I was the first minister for ethics and integrity. I was appointed in 1998, but because of my integrity in the environment which does not want integrity, I didn't stay long. I didn't finish even 5 years. Because I stood my integrity, I was thrown out, and thrown out completely up to now, 19. Because of my integrity. And whatever they try to say, I say, my integrity does not allow this. And so, when you say you are fighting corruption is your priority, I say, well, that's good. But as I stand here as a senior citizen, as a Ugandan, and I stand here to tell you, how many, I don't know how many parliamentarians are here, that for us outside there as Ugandans, we look at you as the same. We look at Parliament and say, those terrible people, they are robbing us, they are grabbing us. So my challenge which I throw to you is that each of you who is there is to distinctively stand tall and show that for you, indeed, you are opposing these corruptions, these unethical conducts, these what? Stand there distinctively showing that what drives you into that parliament is service to your people. Stand out distinctively like that and give this alternative budget, whether it is being implemented, whether it is taken up for you, you get guided and you follow the principles that you have put here so that everybody can say, yeah, whether they bash them or what, at least there are few Ugandans who are standing distinctively for us. And because of them, we shall overcome. That is what I want to tell you on behalf of Ugandans, because we really feel these people whom we chose to serve us are not driven by service. That at the center of what I call leadership, rather than being people-centered, is self-centered. Rather than being service-oriented, it becomes power-oriented. In other words, you find that, yes, you are in this leadership, but you are driven by self-centeredness and power-orientedness. And yet, a leader should be driven by people, should be people-centered and service-oriented. I'm so glad that I stood here as a senior citizen to tell you that kind of thing, so that you get to know that for sure, where our country has reached, it needs liberation, it needs redemption. And for us where we are, our eyes are on God, of course, but God does not come here and work. We believe that God can work through you and bring things to a better way. And so I want to thank you, and I want to encourage you, and stay tough. Have you ever seen me ever shaken by anybody? 19 years. I worked for 30 years, good 30 years for this country. But when I said no, you can't remove the term limit, I was thrown like in the garbage. No pension, no gratuity, no nothing. I don't tell you to choose those people, but I tell you how people can rob you. Me, I was robbed. But because I stand with my God who created me, have you seen me lacking? Have you seen me? I don't have mansions, I don't have, those will remain here. But I work, continue to serve for a legacy. That when I'm long gone, it is not the pension, it is not the what, that they will remember about me. And I can assure you, it gives you joy, it gives you peace, it gives you, and so now that you've enabled me to stand here, I want to affirm you that when you stand with what is right, with what is good for the people of God, because God puts in a position, the Bible says that King David knew that God had appointed him a leader in Israel for the sake of his people, Israelites. Now, if you take it that God granted you this position of leadership for the sake of Ugandan people, and you stand with that, he will stand with you, and he will stand tall, and he will keep you, and one day he will use you to deliver this nation. Now, as I go to sit, I don't know whether you talked about this issue of taxes for Ugandans. You people, Ugandans are dying. Ugandans are suffering. I have a personal experience. I had my Kasumoro house, which has been giving me whatever little I eat and so on and so forth. But this is a house, an old one, which is no longer new. People go in the new ones, so I get small tax from it. But I tell you, Revenue Authority takes almost half of it. The same rent is being taxed by Revenue Authority and the City Council. Double taxation. I went and appealed everywhere. They told me that it is you, Parliament, who passed a law that resulted into that double taxation. That's what they told me. I went to Revenue Authority. I went to City Council. Imagine, to the judge. I appealed on behalf of Ugandans. I said, if they can torture me, what about these market women, these small rentals which people have? People are dying out there, you members of Parliament. So this tax of yours now, which has increased, and it is aggressively collected from people whom you are not giving anything to raise it. Please be humane. Ugandans are doing what? are perishing. Me, that's what I will leave to you. The tax, please. Deal with it. Otherwise, people can care for themselves. You are not helping them. But if they have their parental, if they have, don't take it without giving them anything, please. Thank you so much. For God and my country, I speak these words and I wish you the best. And I pray that one day, like Jesus rose from the dead and delivered us from sin, that this country may be redeemed and delivered once again. Thank you very much.